So I'm not okay. I guess what I'm saying is, if you know that's your tendency, if you know that's your weakness, why put yourself in the position to take advantage of these people in the public? I'm saying, why not be to yourself and make phone calls to the 900 numbers and just pay for it? And we don't know you. You're not a public figure. So it's not going to make the news. Your family might be hurt. Your wife, what you doing. But you're not going to, millions of people follow this man. He's married people, he's blessed people, he's baptized people, all in the name of God, all in the name of truth, all in the name of what's right. So, yes, because he's a bishop, he tells a higher standard. And to me, I don't follow him, but he has influence with this thing. That comes with responsibility. It should come with some pressure to be truthful and honest. Greater pressure than an individual that's not being followed. So basically, if somebody's lying and nobody's listening, do we care if they're lying? But if you're lying and everybody's listening, do we care if they're lying? Hell yeah, we care if they're lying. So, we don't, it's not fair because he put himself in a position for not to be equal. He put himself in an elevated position. He worked hard to accomplish that. So my question is, why do these leaders work so hard to get in this virtuous position, which is what it is, by the virtue of God? Why do they work so hard to get there? They're just going to go lie, cheat, and steal.
Maybe that's part of they go together. I mean, part of the issue of being in that power position, in the position that he's in, is that he got everybody's trust already just because of who he is. And if you're young, I don't know how old you said they were.
Right, 17, 18.
This guy is going to leave me wrong. This guy's going to be me. I don't know. Just guess.
Hey, shout out to you, myself. So y'all been out to the churches and you've been out there, had to, I'm very proud of my brother. They're talking about, they're talking about the new location, the new location for the 3-0 show. Shout out to Heal Thyself 37, Help Yourself 37. Thank you for tuning in to the 3-0 show. This is the 3-0 show every Wednesday night, 8:30 to 10:30. We discuss the topics that y'all talk about in your living room. We bring them to light. We give you a chance to have a healthy discourse about these topics. And tonight we're talking about, in this particular segment, we're talking about being betrayed by your pastor, your bishop, your community leader. And my question, the question MC was just responding to was, why work so hard to put yourself in the spotlight and be revealed as a liar, as a fake, as a fraud?
I don't think you plan on getting caught if you're going to do that.
So now it comes out. Now, that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. So this applies to celebrities and even LJ, because go to my YouTube and check out my video on LJ. They get this superiority complex, this invincibility complex. So that's my theory on it, right? So my theory is built upon theories and theories and other theories that I read. So we'll give credit to all those people that I've ever read and listened to. But basically, you get all these material accomplishments and these pseudo-spiritual accomplishments, which I don't understand pseudo because they were all done from the level of falsehood. And if you start off lying, everything you do after that is tainted. That's why all the dudes with steroids in the MLB got an asterisk next to every record they ever broken.
Even if they're clean now.
It don't matter. Tainted is tainted, I mean, once you break that trust, it's broken. So it comes out eventually. So basically, yes, I think that's very true. I think that my dad always taught me, just because it's your time getting caught, it's your first time doing it. So I think that he did it for so long, and he got away with it for so long, that he didn't have a problem thinking, I'm doing it the right way. I'm doing wrong the right way. So how do you do wrong the right way? You make that person feel like it's worth it for them to be quiet. You make that, you take their mind. I mean, this is the real pimp game right here. It's a real pimp game, and I'm sorry, but that's what pimping is. I mean, that's why we don't like pimping, because this is what pimping is. You get people to believe in you. You get people to give you their money. You get people to follow you. You get people to think that you'll protect them, that you'll take care of them. You get their mind, and then you get their body. And unfortunately, I mean, he did it in a homosexual, umbrella. And that, I mean, for one to lie and to use all your godly talents for evil is just, that's horrible. And on top of that, is infidelity. On top of that, because he's married, on top of that, is with the same sex. I mean, it's a stranger sin right there. It's just horrible. It's very frustrating because, yes, I go to church. Yes, I'm a member of a church. Yes, I give to the pastor's fund, and I like to take. But man, I really, honestly, rather interpret the religion myself, the word of God myself, than to wake up and be like, man, my pastor just had me fooled for 20 years. And I mean, maybe I shouldn't be scoring like that. Maybe I shouldn't be scoring like that because no, it hasn't happened to me directly. And yes, I'm a forgiving person, but it's too common, man. It's too common because what he did is no different than what Enron did. It's no different. You have people's lives in your hands. You have their future in your hands, and you're lying every day to their face about what their future's going to be, about how you're helping support them. It's a shame. It's a shame.
So what do you think? Is it all a bunch of lies? I'm forgetting. Somebody got mad and lied this, or what do you think?
Unfortunately, honestly, I think that he's going to be found to have committed some discretion, some digressions, whatever the appropriate, some deviant behavior. So I don't know what that's all that up.
Found to have committed it or actually did it?
I think he did it. So my verdict on the 3-0 show is that Bishop Edenong is guilty of adultery with a male. That's what I say. So I'm only going by what I read, but what I read was enough. He got on TV and he was like, "Yeah, my lawyer told me I could say anything." Come on, man. Now, see, that's what I'm saying. So now, you spend all your life saying everything. Because you got the power of God behind you. You're going to say what man don't want to be said. You're going to reveal the darkness. I don't know if you've seen them talk, but that's how they talk. He's like, man, I know what I'm saying is right. I'm going to say about it. But now, you can't use it. My lawyer told me don't say that. So now man's law is greater than God's law. Because now you hide behind man's law, like, I better not say nothing because y'all ain't quite spiritual enough to see where I'm coming from.
I never actually understood that.
Man.
Granted, I've never been on trial in front of the whole nation.
Right, I haven't.
Yeah.
Right.
But if I didn't do it, I'm going to say I didn't do it.
Exactly. So let's see what's going on. Let's see what our comments on the wall is.
It's a sad situation, but that's why we place our faith in God, not in man.
Amen.
God is still good no matter how many pastors fall short here.
Very well said. Very well said. And that's true. I mean, it's exactly why we follow God and not man. I mean, it's rough out there, guys. You gotta think for yourself. But it's gonna be a lot of lost people if it comes out that this is true. And like I said, the member of the church asked me not to talk about it because he was like, there's always the devil trying to attack men of God. There's always the devil at play. He's always busy. So he was telling me not to be a pawn to the devil. He was like, don't talk about it because then, you stand on and you fall into the category of, and you know what I said? I said, if I wasn't supposed to talk about it, I wouldn't know about it. It wouldn't exist. I wouldn't know about it because it wouldn't exist. He wouldn't have been accused of it for me to know about it. Same thing I said when I started off. Why do you want to put yourself in that position if you have this internal conflict and you like women and you like men? And that's why we want to shout out right now to Pastor Troy. I'm not going to put the name of his congregation. Pastor Troy is an open homosexual preacher.
Oh.
Exactly, not the rapper. Not the rapper. I got one love for Pastor Troy the rapper, and you know, so I'll clarify. Pastor Troy has a congregation. He's an openly gay, homosexual male, and I can respect that fact right there that he's openly gay about it. There's no, you got what you know, what you seeing is what you get. What you expect, hey. So how can you be mad about that? And then I'll say this one last thing, and then I gotta get something to drink, and I gotta see if my guest is downstairs. One last thing: preaching exclusion versus inclusion. So Bishop A. Long was guilty of preaching exclusion. So you don't like. I don't know. I'm not gonna say he didn't say he didn't like my congregation or my word. Your church is bad, but he definitely has this thing about homosexuals not getting into heaven, condemning homosexuals to hell. Definitely. So it's rough, y'all. If y'all read history, learn your history. There's a lot of homosexual history out there, you know, from the Romans. And the thing is this. Yeah, we supposed to have sex appropriate. Yeah, but you know, we can take it to the Bible and talk about homosexuality from nature and nurture. We can do all that. But we all sitting here walking this earth and all making mistakes and all sinning. One sin ain't greater than the next one. So just because you're a pastor, I don't think you should be, is my opinion, is you shouldn't be preaching exclusion. You should be preaching inclusion. Because if you're preaching exclusion, you're preaching hate. You're preaching better than. You're preaching, you know, even it goes so deep as to talk about patriotism in your country. The patriotism being making the things that you have worth somebody else's life.
No, but he's doing good because he's teaching according to the word, right?
Exactly. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. So we can look at the Bible and just see how the word is. You know, you can find anything in the Bible. Anything in every story.
Find in the Bible.
That's right.
It's there.
It's there.
The thing is, people want to point out and talk about the things that they don't do.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm going to tell you all homosexuals are going to hell.
Exactly.
You know, I sit here and I drink and I cuss
and do a whole other thing. Exactly.
And you're right. Anybody that follows the word knows that there is no sin greater than the other.
Exactly.
In God's eyes.
Exactly.
The people that are quote unquote, I hope I don't offend anybody. Actually, I don't care if I offend anybody. The people that are quote unquote truly religious want to follow everything to a T.
Right.
They'll be the ones that are in your face all about all this and how homosexuality is bad and all this and that.
Right.
But they'll neglect
the stuff
that they do.
Right. The weaknesses that they have. You know, and we all have them. So while you sitting there judging somebody, you teaching. But see, the thing is, he's in a leadership position. He's teaching and teaching and teaching. So you keep on teaching his hate, man. That's horrible. Because as soon as that homosexual gets cut across the throat, that's a human life that dies. That's a human life that's lost. You know, you ain't gonna care if he's homosexual or not. If you're a doctor, you're gonna try to save his life. He come into your emergency room because somebody bust him across the head because he was homosexual. You gonna try to save his life. You ain't gonna say, "Oh, you homosexual? I ain't saving your life. I'm a doctor."
Yeah, you just gotta go to hell.
Exactly. So it don't matter. You know, it don't matter. It's so my youth, the sexual orientation, so my youth. I need to get off of it. All right. I gotta go get something to drink. I'll be back, and y'all just gonna have to look at the windows for a second. Because we ain't got no interlude, no commercials. We ain't got none of that, son. We just going raw the paint, son.